Alright YouTube, so I was not planning on putting out a video today. Of course, we usually stick to an every other day upload schedule, but as always when it comes to this, if there's something to talk about, we will. Like, we'll do daily uploads if there's information out there. And today we have something that I honestly didn't think we'd have like an answer to up until the intermission DLC actually comes out, Intergrade releases and shit. And it's actually that Nomura did an interview on the PlayStation blog, and to be honest, the majority of this interview isn't that important. It's stuff that we already pretty much know. But there's one part at the very end where he actually confirms what's going on with Vincent. And what I mean by that, in case you guys don't remember, whenever we got this final trailer for Intergrade / Intermission, people were looking in the reflection of Yuffie's eye at the end of the trailer and swearing to the goddess Minerva herself that they were seeing Vincent. And look, admittedly, I kind of shit on this theory or idea with the trailer breakdown video I did, but in all honesty, whenever I'm like roasting or something like that, talking a little bit of shit, it's not meant to be malicious. It's just meant to be kind of funny, so to speak. Whether or not you find it funny, I guess, is a subjective. And clearly they're putting emphasis on the reflection of her eye, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's because it's Vincent. Now, looking into the reflection, I can see how some people might vaguely see something that is slightly potentially vaguely humanoid, but that I don't see it personally. I can see how you might come to that conclusion. I so disagree. What I'm seeing in the reflection of her eye is just rubble. And what most of us seem to think is that Sonon's gonna die when it comes to this DLC by the end of it with the Sector 7 platefall potentially. So what I'm seeing, my theory or whatever, interpretation, is she's looking at the rubble that potentially fell on Sonon or something. That's just my thoughts. And look, when I'm disagreeing with like this theory or something, it's not from the perspective of I'm right and you guys are wrong, or these people that believe this are wrong or whatever. I'm just basing it off the information that we have. My whole thing with that theory is that it just wouldn't make sense to be Vincent outside of it being a vision, which we're going to talk about, because he's supposed to be locked away in Nibelheim, which in this interview, Nomura confirms. So they asked Nomura, how did the team decide to bring Yuffie as the main character in this DLC instead of Vincent or Sid? Nomura replies with the overarching story follows the original, so considering where this lies in the storyline, Vincent is still in his slumber and Sid is on Shinra's side, so Yuffie was the only one who would be able to move freely. Which, of course, makes a lot of sense, because given what we know of the FF7 compilation and story, like, again, when we reach Rocket Town, Sid is still on Shinra's side at that point. He's waiting on information for the trip to space or whatever. Vincent, of course, has been locked away in the Nibelheim, like, Shinra Manor or whatever for however many years, 20 years or something like that. So with Yuffie, I don't know if we know much about her, like, beginnings. I'd assume just prior to the FF7, she's just chilling in Wutai or something. So they can easily move her around and kind of do what they want with her when it comes to Remake, which is why we're getting this DLC. So again, when it came to Yuffie seeing Vincent, I just thought it was reaching because there's no reason he should be there at all with him being locked away in the Shinra Manor. But there is the possibility, and I'm not ruling this out entirely, that she's being shown a vision at this moment, which maybe not. I don't know how much I believe that, but it's not impossible because at this point in the story, during the Yuffie DLC, the Whispers aren't defeated yet. They still exist. So there's the possibility that for some reason the Whispers could give Yuffie a vision of Vincent, but I don't know why it'd be like an ominous vision, because he's a hero, he's a good guy, he's on our team. I don't know why they do that, but they might. Or somebody else that has that capability. I don't know if Nero can do that, Sephiroth potentially, Aerith, whoever. Like people that have the ability to give visions, maybe she's seeing something here. So kind of my overall thoughts on this, when you get to the ending of the trailer and we're seeing Yuffie with blood on her face, crying, and what I think is her looking at rubble, I think she's just overlooking the destruction of Sector 7, and potentially looking at the rubble that killed Sonon or somebody that she knows. That's just my thoughts on it. But I do admit that they are putting a lot of emphasis on her eye, the reflection of her eye, whatever she's looking at, and I do admit that it's possible that she could be seeing a vision. I don't know what it could be. I don't know that it'd necessarily be Vincent, but maybe. So moving on from the main topic of this video, something else I wanted to discuss here towards the end before we wrap everything up, is that with this quote from Nomura, we now know that Vincent is still in Nibelheim when it comes to the remake story, so we're going to come across him in a similar manner to the original game, except that it's probably going to be like a story segment. Again, he's not going to be optional, similar to how Yuffie's not optional, so there's going to be some sort of story segment when we get to Nibelheim where we're like forced to go into the Shinra Manor and eventually go down to the basement and meet Vincent. I don't know if we're going to fight Lost Number, I don't know if we're going to do all the secret shit. I truly hope that we do, or they do like some sort of modern version of that where we can like do like a little scavenger hunt around the Shinra Manor looking for codes or numbers to get into the safe, fight Lost Number, maybe get the Odin material still, or a different summon material, or something else that's kind of rare and good, weapon, armor, something, I don't know. Hopefully. Anyways, dudes, that is the video. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, guys. Only most of the day, more Final Fantasy VII Remake content. Turn on my notifications. Follow me on Twitter, _DavidYT, and my Discord. The links to my social networks are in the description. And in the outro. Later, guys.
Used to care what people thought. but now I care more, and nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in here like Logain, or leave it like Cobain.